Hello, YouTube.
Hi, YouTube. If you are watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, we don't like you very much.
Okay, relax.
Well, we like you, but subscribe and then we'll like you even more.
We don't like them. Subscribe, watch the video, enjoy. It's college football.
Well, especially how big they keep getting.
Whenever.
Boy, they're big.
We're ready to go whenever.
None of my bras fit anymore.
Do we have to talk about your titties again?
beard
Every week we talk about your titties.
Your beard looks great, Brandon.
Your beard does look very nice.
Beard season.
What's wrong with talking about titties?
Nothing's wrong with talking about titties.
I'm just talking about the guy who said I had sweaty titties because of my boob sweat at the swamp. I thought it was a funny tweet.
See the guy that replied to him and said that chick with the sweaty titties has a name, sir, and it's Brandon Walker.
I'm telling you, that tweet
It's the funniest thing I've gotten back in a long time.
It's given me joy, that tweet, because like obviously Florida fans, which is a whole different level of delusion sometimes, but Florida fans love to point out that the swamp is awesome to me because I said it was overrated in Hate Week. But that was such a pure like, wait, the tweet was, ain't this a podcast with that blonde chick with the sweaty titties? Like, I want that to be who I am to Florida fans.
The blonde chick with
the blonde
sweaty
chick
titties.
with the sweaty titties, and titties was spelled Tittys.
They're catching me up with you. I mean, you said it was overrated. I said it was one of the best stadiums in the country.
You did say that.
Yeah.
I also, and this is why the internet is so great. It was taken out of the Hate Week podcast. I wouldn't have gone out of my way to make fun of the swamp for no reason. It was my Hate Week for Florida. But if the nicknames like that come out of the woodworks for it, I'll take it.
We just had 5 days of football.
I know. It's Tuesday already. It's crazy.
5 days of football. All right. Y'all ready to do a podcast?
Yeah.
Yep.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Hello, welcome to Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool's college football podcast, brought to you by High Noon Hard Seltzer. The tailgate pack is in front of me, the cranberry, the grapefruit, the pear, and the black cherry. Some elite flavors right here, and I can't wait till next year when I can enjoy one with my friend Kayce Smith.
Well, thank you, Brandon.
Now I'll just enjoy 2 in front of her.
That's okay. You can have 3.
It's delicious. It's fantastic. It's the High Noon Tailgate Pack. You're tailgating across this country, and you can do it with the High Noon Tailgate Pack.
I've been told that the cranberry is a very fall flavor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is.
And they're all great all times of year, but like
I would say black cherry might fall under the
fall flavor too?
profile of black cherry. Now, question.
Uh-oh.
I don't know who creates the High Noon flavors, but it seems like every time we think of one, they come out with it. Pumpkin flavored at some point?
Do you know that I
That's too
thought
far.
about it when we were before we started sitting down, because I'm a big Trader Joe's fan.
Yeah.
No free ads. They're rolling out all their pumpkin flavor stuff. So their pumpkin Greek yogurt is so good.
It's September.
But they're
6th.
rolling it out. No,
It's fall.
after Labor Day.
It feels like it's fall.
No, I will.
Today is the first day that isn't summer, and it's like dreary and rainy outside.
Okay,
Yeah.
I feel you.
But
I'm wearing jeans.
I do agree with you, Jack, that it's like it should be fall, and I don't know why summer is hanging on right now, because if you look at the weather, it doesn't seem to cool down anytime soon. But as soon as the pumpkin flavors start coming out, you feel cooler.
So you think High Noon will have a
Can you imagine a
fall?
pumpkin spice High Noon? The basic bitches would go crazy. And I love pumpkin
You're a
flavored.
basic bitch.
I'm not a big pumpkin spice latte person.
Okay.
They're too sweet for me. But I do love like actual pumpkin flavor. If High Noon can figure out how to make a pumpkin drink that's
Yeah.
not too sweet, I'm in.
What is your official, okay, it's fall now move? What's
Pumpkin
your official
stuff.
pumpkin stuff?
As soon as I say it. But again, I don't like.
Mine is the first time I make a chili.
Ooh.
When I make a chili, summer's over.
Have you made one yet?
Oh no, not even close. It'll be.
It has to be
It'll
cool
be
out to
October.
make
It
them.
has to be cold.
Yeah.
Has to be 50 degrees or less.
Your voice sounds good. How you feeling?
No, it's not. It'll give out during the show.
You
Not
have
not
what?
great, Bob.
It does sound good so far.
I did take 2 hard days off. I also feel like I got a booger, but I guess I don't.
You don't.
There were some suggestions in the comments, like honey.
Honey tea.
I have-
Yeah, throat
some
coat.
some
they-
throat coats.
legitimately make a tea called throat coat tea, and I realize how funny it sounds.
Why don't
and
you go bring it to me?
Yeah.
I have a
wanted to go out-
ton at home.
The only thing I'm concerned about, and I thought about it. I thought about you a lot this weekend.
That's
in
nice.
a pause way, but
Pause.
I
With
don't
throat
want you to have a situation where you like start talking so much that you actually start to injure them, the vocal cords.
Yeah, I don't
Like, that's
think I'm
a
going to do
legit
that.
thing.
I don't know. It was bad. It was bad.
They also have a spray that singers use
It was
that like
12:30 in the morning.
lubes your
If
vocal
I get through
cords
the
up.
Brandon Walker show today without a voice crack, because that's usually the test. It cracks it breaks down every Monday about 4:30 or 5 o'clock.
Brandon, it was Saturday night.
No, but we were talking all day.
The weekend had a concert this weekend
Yeah.
in LA, and he couldn't do it because his voice gave out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Did you see that Justin Bieber can't finish his tour because of his illness?
Nobody.
You
Did you see Harry Styles spit on that dude?
I feel like a lot of people would be okay with Harry Styles spitting.
We'll talk about Justin Bieber's illness after this.
No conspiracy theories, Jack.
I don't want to say it on air because we'll be demonetized on YouTube.
Can we talk college football?
Yeah. Oh, well, speaking of your voice.
Yeah.
So Katie has it pulled up for us. We're going to Iowa, we've mentioned. So this weekend, Iowa State at Iowa. It'll be at 503 Melrose Avenue.
Yep, in Iowa City.
In Iowa City. The show will be at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching it, obviously, that's a couple hours before the game. Here's my question for you, though, because it's very important that you save your voice for this. And we will have been traveling that day. There's some big games happening while we're flying.
Yeah.
Are you going to take Friday off for your voice?
I'm going to take Friday off.
You have to.
I'm going to take Friday off.
Because if you get to that live show in a place where they hate you as much as they do, and your voice cracks, it's curtains for you.
I'm going to have to take Friday off, and I'm going to have to, I don't know. This has never happened before. It didn't happen last year. It's just this is a newfound thing. So
We have meetings today to figure it out to see if we can switch some things around.
That's nice.
So
that's the good, Katie. Thank you. Because he wouldn't have done that. But my main concern is that if I introduce you on Saturday and you come out and your voice sounds like a pubescent 13-year-old,
bitch, I'm going to be ready.
It's going to be a problem.
I'm going to be ready.
You're going to be make a mockery
I'm
of
going
yourself.
to be ready.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I got to holler at you now because you're telling me I'm not going to be ready.
No, I know you will be mentally ready. I know you'll be emotionally ready, intellectually ready. I'm worried that your voice will not be physically ready for a live show. It gives out.
Should bring my wife and have her with me. Have sex with her.
Ooh. What does that have to do with your voice?
That way somebody could score in Iowa.
Oh, my God.
Oh, give him a high five.
Oh, sorry. I'm happy.
Took a little work, but I got there.
I'm happy that you had sex. Are these yours?
Oh, those are mine.
Do not eat them on the show.
Yeah.
I had a salad today for lunch, and whenever I have a salad today for lunch, I always just grab whatever's around the office and try to snack.
Well, that's because the salad that you got had nothing in it.
So you offset the salad you get.
College football
He puts
is
nothing in it.
so back.
So back.
So back, and we had 5 days. Yes, Kayce Smith.
No, I was going to wait for you to finish.
Well, you had your finger up.
No, it was like more of like it wasn't pointed yet.
It was,
It was
anticipatory.
Like this. Yes.
Okay.
Like I'm in my backswing.
Well, we had the Saturday night reaction show.
Mm-hmm.
Today this is the first time we will have ever had 3 shows in a week. This is our second of 3 shows this week. Saturday night, now today, which will be a little bit look back, a little bit look now, a little bit look forward. And then Thursday, it'll be fully looking forward to the weekend of week 2. But we had our recap show Saturday night. We will go back and cover some things we didn't cover that night. But we also have 2 more games to talk about, including the game of the year so far. But go ahead. You had an anticipatory pin up. What you got?
Is this the best, and I know it's recency bias, but is this the best week 1 throughout from Thursday to Tuesday, even though Tuesday's game kind of stunk,
Well, let me tell you something.
that you can remember in a while?
Let me tell you something. Probably not, but because I feel like I say that every single year. There's always a smattering of excellent games in week 1, but this was an excellent one. Yeah, this was great. But I think they're all equally great. Like it just from Florida, Utah, Cincinnati, Arkansas, and
All
then
the Thursday night
games with
yeah.
Purdue, Penn State, West Virginia, and then the appetizer, not the appetizer.
Illinois, Indiana on Friday night was also a pretty good
The
game.
dessert,
as well.
I think the piece de resistance, however you say that, was Sunday night, LSU, Florida State, which had everything.
It had everything, and I mean, just the last 80 seconds alone is worth.
We're going to
talking
talk about that game. We're going to talk about the Clemson game because Jack had a good take on Twitter yesterday. I want to talk coaching. I want to talk about a state that might be back. I want to talk about, and I think we might need to do the players of the week in this episode.
So I was thinking about it and how obviously we have 3 and we could do 5.
We should do
because
weekly
there's so much to
awards
talk, But
here.
I think the awards are better here because Saturday is their immediate reaction. There's so much. And then you're like, wait a second. this guy was unbelievable, and I didn't even realize.
So let's do that on the show. Let's build out the awards that we'll give out the rest of the year.
So are you saying we should do winners and losers?
No,
Winners
that's
and losers
Saturday.
is gut
Oh,
reaction.
player
okay.
of the week, and then
Okay.
maybe we'll do something else.
Players of the week, moment of the week, coach, shit like that.
Dumb shit moment of the week.
Yeah, shit like that.
Because I got a dumb shit
There
moment
was
of
a
the
lot
week.
of dumb shit moments this week.
I like dumb shit moment.
We could find dumbest tweet of the week, something like that.
And we'll also talk a little bit
Sweatiest titties
of
of the week.
Iowa. And I'm not sure you would win that one on this panel either.
So we talked about the fall being here off the top of the show,
Yes, we did.
which for all of us in this room means we have a lot less time to do a lot of things outside of work.
busier.
We're busier. A lot of people are busier. A lot kids are going back to school.
Imagine having a kid right now.
I can't
There's one in here.
imagine. Yeah, there is one in here. What I can't imagine though, Jack, is not using HelloFresh to make your life easier. That's what I can't imagine.
No, HelloFresh, the convenience behind HelloFresh is almost as good as the food.
It is absolutely life-changing, no matter if you're busy, if you just want to step up your cooking game. We've been talking about HelloFresh on this podcast for a long time. Like I've said before, I pay to use it. That's how much I like it. HelloFresh is very convenient, and the best thing is it comes straight to your door. It comes to your doorman, your house, your apartment, wherever you live, with the exact ingredients that you need to make delicious meals. You don't have a lot of leftover stuff. You don't have to go to the grocery store and get a bottle of sauce that you're never going to use again. And it comes with the instructions quite literally made for idiots like me, Jack.
Yeah, no, and they make it so easy. And guess what? It's 25% less expensive than takeout, which when you're busier, you're getting takeout. But hey, if you want something that's more fresh and more hello, and that's what it says. When I open that big box that they send, and guess what? They send a lot of boxes. I literally, it's like someone's telling me, hello, Jack.
You're going to eat better today, Jack.
I'm going to.
It's going to be fresh today, Jack.
And we're going to help our listeners have the exact same experience.
And so much more than just helping them have the exact same experience, because we've talked about it a million times. It's a great experience, but we like to give away free things. By we, I mean HelloFresh. But if you go to HelloFresh.com/Walker16 and use the code Walker16, I cannot say this enough. You have to put in that URL, HelloFresh.com/Walker16, and use the code at checkout. You'll get 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 gifts. And here's the thing, as we continue to say, it's not just 16 free meals, because one meal is 2 servings. So if it's for 2 people, that's a free meal for a couple. If it's just you and having those leftovers, are always delicious. So again, go to HelloFresh.com/Walker16 and use the code Walker16. Walker16. We love HelloFresh. You should too.
So we go forward, but let's start with what I think was the best game of the year so far. It was LSU, Florida State. There are several ways to take this, and I think there's a good and a bad. And the good side goes to the Florida State Seminoles. Not a team that's been up over the last few years. And devil's advocate, will we look towards the end of this year and will we say, oh, wow, that was an anomaly? I mean, that's possible. But right now they are 2-0. They just walked into a road situation, and it was a road situation. They walked into New Orleans, and they beat LSU. We'll get to LSU in a minute. But right now, Jordan Travis looked fantastic. Mm-hmm. Their defensive line looked really good. You saw pieces of a very good team. I don't know how good they are, but I think they're in the conversation for being a really good team, and it's a very interesting year coming up for the Florida State Seminoles.
I also think, and we had this debate on the college football show, or not a debate, but it was kind of thrown around. I think that because Florida State got to play in week 0, it really did help them a lot, because we knew how good Jordan Travis was against Duquesne. Fine, it's still Duquesne, but he proved that he's actually good against good teams. I mean, LSU's, again, we'll talk about that.
LSU has a good defense.
But, like, he proved that, like, he got the reps in week 0 that he needed to maybe, like, get the offseason rust, whatever, and then they came into New Orleans, and he played really well. And, in fact, I know we're going to talk about the buffoonish decisions that were made coaching-wise. The biggest knock on Florida State was not Jordan Travis, was not the players. It's what Mike Norvell did.
Okay, so here's the thing. I thought there were several coaches coming into week 1 that needed good things to happen early. Scott Frost needed good things to happen early, didn't happen. Neil Brown of West Virginia needed good things to happen early, didn't happen. I think Brian Harsin is his kind of incomplete because he played Mercer, needs good things to happen early. And Mike Norvell needed good things to happen early in the schedule. If he comes out of here 1-1, or if he's 0-2 right now, God forbid, he's in real trouble. But he goes to New Orleans, and they won the game by a point, but they were in decent control all night. Like they looked like the better team for most of that game. We'll get to the end and that craziness that happened, But for 90% of that game, you thought Florida State was the better team. You thought Florida State was in control, and they ended up getting out of there with a win. And the biggest winner of that game is Mike Norvell. Like, right now, Florida State fans aren't talking about their future. They're talking about this year. They're talking about what can we be this year. And there's a good chance this is a 5-0 team going into NC State in a couple of weeks.
Which is crazy. The ending is, it's hard not to talk about it right now because obviously we look back.
We'll
at just
go
how
into
great,
it.
Well, my thing with Mike Norvell is he got this huge win and they needed it. If that had gone any different at the end and LSU would have won after the decision that he made on the goal line, completely different conversation around Mike Norvell, regardless of the way the rest of the game went, because it was so crazy running that play on the goal line. It was like that.
I have a little bit of a. I'm a little.
You don't think it was?
No, not really. It was a standard.
I
it was a standard. And that's a very defensible position you got. I'm fine with you having that position. I like to disagree with you. But to me, it's a toss on the goal line. Your offense practices that. They ought to be able to run that in their sleep. I don't have a problem with that play.
I think that granted, the fumble itself is why we're talking about it. But just all they had to do was just hold on to the ball and they won the game. It wasn't like they were playing to tie it. A pitch on the goal line right there, especially when Jordan Travis had been fine holding on to the ball all night.
Yeah.
Like, just to do that against an LSU defense on a situation where they were playing in Baton Rouge essentially. Like, they weren't
I disagree with that.
What do you mean?
There was a lot of Florida State fans there.
There would have been if
And
it
also,
wasn't Baton Rouge,
it's equal amount of
disbursement.
Hour and a half each ways, and I know it's still in Louisiana, but I thought it wasn't that crazy of an LSU crowd.
I thought it sounded like it to me. Correct.
Still, I still think walking. Oh fuck! I still think walking in the Superdome and winning is
definitely.
I chalk it up as a road win. He's right that it wasn't a true road. It's not like it'd be 95-5 in Baton Rouge, and it was probably more like 60-40, something like that.
It was full though, which was impressive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's LSU. It's first game of a new coach, and we'll get to that in a second. Now, the coaching decision I didn't love from Florida State, and it didn't end up burning them because they got the blocked extra point. When they put them down on the goal line, their defensive line had been dominating all night, but they did what coaches always do. They rushed three and they played the prevent defense, and LSU just kind of ran right down the field, just passed 10-yard pass, 10-yard pass, 10-yard pass, 10-yard pass. All of a sudden, they're at the goal line. But, again, Florida State ends up winning, so it doesn't matter. Florida State wins 2-0. They move on, and we're going to talk about them. They're going to matter in 2022 college football. I believe that. LSU's a different story. LSU is a team that I just said, Florida State dominated 90% of this game. LSU really had no business winning this game and almost stole it, but to me, the Tigers have problems. LSU has problems.
Big problems. And not just football play problems.
Right, like culture problems.
They don't want to be there.
I've never seen – Kayce Boutte is one of the top 3 receivers in the country. Kayce Boutte is somebody that dominated last year in his first 6 games, and he got hurt. He showed up – I guess he physically showed up in the Dome the other night, but his mind didn't show up. He didn't want to be there. You could tell his body language was poor. They had the one pass. It was a slant near the goal line. He didn't even put his arms up.
That was a great pass too. It literally hit him in his chest.
Yeah, it was right at him, and he wasn't ready. He wasn't like what? How many receivers at the goal line aren't looking back for the ball?
And then
Especially
they
top
were saying
receivers
he
in the
saw
country.
the safety over the top, so he wasn't that doesn't matter.
That's
Also, you're a top wide receiver, and also. I don't know why he was so mad. It wasn't like he was playing with a bozo. Like, Jaden Daniels didn't play bad.
No, Jaden Daniels was fine. I do think this is what happens when you have a receiver group that's been pumped up as one of the top receiver groups in the country, and they are deep. I don't think they're nearly as good as Ohio State or, USC, even in Alabama. But they've been pumped up as this great receiver group, and now they're playing with a running quarterback. And in the first quarter, Jaden Daniels, his default was to, if things broke down, he would take off and run, take off and run, take off and run. I think Kayce Boutte saw that 3 times, and he was done with it. Like, no, you're not going to run. You got to throw the ball to me. Whatever. They got issues.
When you watch that game, and going into it, we went back and forth. Up until quite literally kickoff, I was like, I don't know which way I want to go. On the show, I said I thought LSU was going to win. I ended up on the sports book putting Florida State money line in. I was like, I don't know what to think. But as soon as they started playing, the energy, and I know that's such a lame thing to say because the crowd was awesome, the Superdome looked great, everything looked so cool. From the team standpoint, it just didn't have that cool LSU factor, that energy.
They had a great first drive.
the once things started to fall off the rails for them, it never was like they were. I don't know. I
Can I go
can't
against you
explain it.
again? Can I go against you again? I want to
Can
go against
always.
you and Dan and Dave and all of you for this take.
Definitely.
This cool LSU thing that y'all got
I
going
think
on.
LSU's so fucking cool.
Not really. I mean, Ed Orgeron was a fucking idiot. Like Joe Burrow was cool. What's cool about a bunch of drunk Cajuns saying "suck that tiger dick,
OBJ,
bitch"?
Yeah,
OBJ.
exactly.
2013.
Yeah, but OBJ, what's his name, Jarvis Landry. You could keep Tyrann Matthew.
I mean, they've
Like,
had
they've
quarterbacks.
really cool-
They've had quarterbacks there that were the very opposite of cool.
But it's the whole thing of LSU. We talk about Death Valley at night, the best stadium in the country.
They
That's
have
cool.
the best stadium in the country.
They have
I
Neck.
think they have the band. They have Neck, Mike the Tiger.
I don't think
the
there's.
colors.
They have
Yeah.
a cool factor.
Oh, I
They have
outside.
one of the. I think they're cool.
I think LSU is one of those like brands that like if you are just like a casual college football fan, and this is even before Joe Burrow, that it's like that, and it's such an overused word, but it's the only word to use sometimes with LSU. The swagger of the whole program of LSU is there, and it has something to do with New Orleans. So I know New Orleans is not Baton Rouge, but just the idea of Louisiana.
To me, that swagger Saturday night was a receiver pouting because they weren't throwing him the
That's
ball.
what I'm saying. It didn't have the energy that it normally does. That's where I started noticing it when things started to go wrong. And I think that it's because I don't like Brian Kelly. And I think Brian Kelly was it was such a try hard thing to do in the offseason. And obviously they lost. And so it's easy to jump on that right now. It could turn around. But I mean, I do think that growing up in the South, I always thought LSU was cool.
Yeah, I guess I grew up too close to them because they beat us every year from like 25
I get
years.
why you don't think they're cool.
Yeah, I like, ugh, it's gross to me.
But to most people, they're sexy as fuck.
Yeah.
I guess.
I agree with you,
I
John.
don't know, but
And then, of course, it did help a lot, in the recent few years,
I mean,
like with
they've
the
had
Joe
some of the
Burrow
coolest
thing and all that.
players
But
of all time go through there.
Honey Badger as well. You didn't mention him.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I
I
said
did.
Matthew.
Honey, yeah, okay, you did
he
mention him. Fine,
still has
whatever.
me blocked on Twitter. I have no idea why. I know you. Maybe it's too close to comfort for you. I mean, A&M has lost to LSU a ton. I just still think that they who's a cool program to you then?
Miami. Will always
Miami
be cool.
that's a fair one. But to me, LSU is up there.
I
with
think Florida
recency
State's
bias.
cool.
USC when they're going is cool.
Yeah, USC's 100%.
Yeah, these are great.
I
would
love
add.
the tomahawk chomp.
Yeah.
Chomp.
Oh wow.
I know I like the look of it. Not
Kind of
the
racist.
not the behind the
Stop.
it.
It was a joke.
I know.
Yeah.
But I just so
I knew he was going there.
in the same way that Gators have the chomp, like any full hand motion having entire Texas, it's like a standing motion, so it doesn't work. Any kind of motion when you have the entire the videos,
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, whenever the entire 90,000 people are doing the same thing, it looks cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Facts.
Now Brian Kelly.
He makes it less cool.
No, hold on.
He does.
Brian Kelly, it can be argued, had the safest job in the country. Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame. Brian Kelly could have kept winning between 9 and 11 games for the next 15 years and been fine. Brian Kelly had it built in. He was getting the right recruits. He was getting things. He was going 9-3, 10-2, 11-1, 12-0, and he was getting to the playoff every couple of years. He's done it twice. And he gave that up to go to LSU. And I don't think LSU fans took to him well at first. I don't think they fell in love with him. I think they were okay. They liked the fact they got Notre Dame sitting head coach. But if you look in Gainesville, Florida, at how that fan base has embraced UL Lafayette's coach, and how LSU's fan base has not really embraced Brian Kelly, and now that he loses his first game out, it's a crazy thing what I'm about to say. It's wild. It's stupid because you've got to give your coach a chance to do it. But if there's one fan base, if there's one place that would fire a guy after 1 year, it's the one he went to. Now, I don't think he's going to do poorly enough to get fired.
Okay.
But if he went 5-7, if he went 5-7,
if they don't make a bowl game
guys, if he went 5-7, would he get fired?
No, because they paid him so much money.
in 9.5 a year.
I think they
Also-
might. Just remember, Auburn not as crazy as LSU. They're plenty crazy. They tried to fire their guy after 6-6.
Could you pull, Katie? Could you pull up just the 24/7 Sports recruiting rankings right now? Because I don't think he's recruiting particularly well either. Now, the only thing I would say about Brian Kelly is, and this is true of any first-year head coach, and you see Butte pouting around Neighbors, the guy who dropped the two punts. He deletes everything on Instagram too. When you come into a new news program with guys that other coaches recruited, there's always going to be this weird transition period,
Yeah.
and you have to give them some time. and you have to give him some time to get your guys in there. Oh, he's doing fine.
But that's the thing. Last week I had these LSU idiots calling me and saying, "Oh, we're going to be great. We have the best receiver group. We have the best defensive line in the country." And those groups are fine, but LSU can't be content being okay. They can't be. They have to have the best everything. And they convinced themselves they had a top 5 roster. Orgeron,
I know what you're saying.
They don't have a top 5 roster.
I know what you're saying, and that fan base, without a doubt, is so crazy.
They think they're a top 5 roster. They're not, and they're not going to be able to handle it.
And LSU has Southern and then State. The game against you guys is gonna be massive for him, because if he loses that first SEC game, and I think you guys are a better team, by the way.
Yeah.
If you beat them handedly.
What was that noise?
I can't imagine. I said, "Whew."
Oh yeah.
I'm saying, like, I my reaction was him. If he loses his first SEC game,
all right, now.
I mean, Sark just won 5-7 to Texas.
I got
to Kansas.
Yeah, but Sark didn't come into a place that won a national title 2 years ago.
Okay, facts.
The only SEC team with a loss.
Okay, now one more thing. I want to know how petty you guys are, because I'm about to lay out a situation about how petty I am.
I do love petty.
How petty are you
Oh,
on a
boy.
scale of 1 to 10? Because I'm about to give you like 9.5.
I'm pretty petty.
Okay, when a guy, if you pay attention to recruiting, when a guy leaves your team at the altar or decommits or screws your team over, do you follow him around and hope that he fails? Because last year, on signing day, Malik Neighbors was committed to Mississippi State for about 6 months. Mike Leach found him, gave him the offer. He committed to Mississippi State, and he was going to go to a Mississippi State team that throws the ball 70 times a game. And Malik Neighbors on signing day was wearing maroon. LSU called and said, "Here's an offer." He said, "Oh, peace out. I'm going there." When I'm not proud to say how much I enjoyed his failures on Saturday. Now, if he'll come home to Mississippi State, who believed in him, they hate you down there in Baton Rouge. Now, if you'll go to Mississippi State and catch your 13 balls a game like you should have, I'll be your best friend. But when he dropped those 2 punts, and by the way, those 2 drop punts didn't mean anything. They didn't get a point off those.
Yeah, but they did matter.
The second one mattered a lot. The first one didn't matter because it was halftime.
I know, but it
Morale.
It didn't matter. It was halftime.
You are right. They got 0 points off of it, but
the second one definitely.
I
mattered.
would yeah.
Brandon,
If he caught the second one that he dropped,
yes.
If he caught it, I think LSU's offense was moving in but maybe they didn't play prevent, and then maybe they, LSU's biggest issue, at least in my opinion, that offensive line. I know you were bringing up that they only rushed 3, but Jaden Daniels got sacked on that drive.
Yeah, they were trash. That offensive line is garbage, and that defense isn't very good. The back half of the defense
was decent.
The defensive line's not bad.
the secondary was not good.
Jordan Travis was getting whatever he wanted.
All right,
That's and going into that game too, because we put out the clip of us breaking it all down, and LSU fans were not happy that I said their secondary was going to stink in comparison to what it has in the last few years, because they're DBU and they're used to having all these guys, and it's like Jordan Travis, like you said, could do whatever he wanted, but I have to go back to your pettiness. I need to ask you I need to follow up on the pettiness. Brian Kelly gets up in the post game, and he does take a lot of credit, or I guess he takes responsibility for coaching decisions. However, he brings up the punt return situation, and he's like, maybe we put the wrong guy back there.
Yeah.
He just threw Neighbor under.
He was
completely under the bus.
You put him out there in practice. You watch him do it, and you figure they can do it in a game, and maybe we just put the wrong guy in there.
Did you take joy out of that?
I didn't take joy out of that. I thought that was Brian Kelly being a dumb, stupid bitch.
But if you're being petty about your guy, that's where we draw the line.
Here's the thing about pettiness. I can be petty about everybody. Brian Kelly, don't act like that. Don't throw your fucking player under the bus.
Completely agree.
Don't throw, especially in your first game.
It was so. He got on the mic and said, "We just have to be better as coaches." That was his first thing he said, and that's what you have to say there.
Yeah.
And then he just kept talking more and more. He was like, "No, I gotta blame some players. I have to."
The word vomit just wouldn't stop, and I think that I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised when he took a little bit of responsibility and was like, you know what, we've got to be better in these situations, and then just to be like, oh well, we've seen this guy in practice for the last month, and I guess we just fucked up and got it wrong. Like, you can't say that. That's on you, technically.
Did y'all see this from Ed Orgeron? He was talking at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. Somebody said, "Coach, you got." He's sitting up there and he says, "They said, Coach, you got $17.1 million on your contract. We're going to give it to you." And he said, "What time do you want me to leave, and what door do you want me to go out of, brother?"
I'm tweeting this out from the main account
Yeah,
right now.
that is-
By the time you listen to this podcast, you've probably already seen it. But this is look
Just-
at him too. He just
Oh, he looks so
he's
happy.
wearing
He
a
look-
jeans.
he looks cool.
He looks
See?
so
cool as
happy.
fuck.
See, okay, and this is going back to
No, Ed Orgeron's not
No,
cool.
he does look cool as fuck.
He looks fine there, but he's not cool.
Brandon, he is cool because it's like what meme kept popping up throughout the entire game on Sunday
That
night?
was hot.
Him with that hot blonde girl in bed. That is cool.
No.
Ed
Orgeron's
Orgeron-
not. I'm not giving you Ed Orgeron being cool.
He is.
No.
But when he got the head coaching job, the number one thing for me was that Ed Orgeron is so LSU. It's like if LSU could create a coach that sounds like, looks like, coaches
Yeah.
like, it didn't work out for very long. He still won a national title. I think that that's where Brian Kelly, like if you're an LSU fan or if you're a player that didn't want to necessarily play for Brian Kelly, whatever it is, like unfortunately that the culture of LSU comes into it. And Brian Kelly, he might fit into it in the future. I don't know. But he tried so hard. Ed Orgeron didn't have to try.
Yeah,
Ed
but-
Orgeron was just
That's
LSU
fine, but
and a human.
He also sucked too,
But he was LSU. And they got him a national title. He could suck all he wants.
which
not
is
to them.
still the most amazing thing that's ever happened in the history of college football.
I mean, look, just
The amount of things that
look
needed-
at this happy man.
Okay, all right.
Look how happy
we
this
got to
man
move on
is.
from LSU and Florida State. Florida State's 2-0, and they're worth watching, especially Jordan Travis. I think Jordan Travis is worth watching going forward. But as we move on to the
Katie
game,
wants to say
One thing
something.
for Brian Kelly, I feel like every time you cut to him on the TV, he wasn't saying anything. Every other head
Yeah, he
coach
looked
was
miserable.
talking to the mic.
His face was very red.
Like he wasn't talking to players, he wasn't talking to the mic, to other coaches, nothing.
The last thing I will say, and then we'll move on. The 5-minute review at the end of the game about gave me a seizure.
I think they were trying to figure out, based on the rule book, if there was going to be a 10-second runoff. And I think a
Definitely.
lot of people on the mic were probably flipping through pages, and
Yeah.
they wanted to get it right. Because if you get that wrong,
Oh.
it's disastrous.
I was-
I was thinking. Also, you had a good point, and my immediate reaction was wrong too. But getting mad at them reviewing that play on
Yeah.
3rd and goal and 4th and goal, and then I know you said something to Reese Davis on Twitter.
yeah.
You have to review it.
You
You
have,
have to. If he had gotten in and you let him play on and they get stuffed and then it goes back that they actually scored on 3rd down, it's a riot. It's
Yeah,
going to be awful.
You absolutely have to. And I am glad that they got it the way that they did because I knew when I say it almost gave me a seizure, it was just because it felt so much longer than 5 minutes. It was like, what are they looking at? And it was the 10-second runoff. Had they decided that game was over right there after they had stopped the clock, it would have been an absolute disaster.
Yeah,
so at
Mintz-
least they gave them the
Mintz wouldn't even
opportunity.
have been able to block the aisle at that point.
I heard you talking about this on the rundown, and obviously this is coming out after the rundown, so it's not spoiling anything. But you were talking about his hair. What was going on?
I
It's
don't-
a dome.
Can you imagine, though,
What was happening?
if you just watched your team lose in epic fashion and you're trying to walk out just peacefully to your car and somebody's filming a video?
Well, you had a great point. If it was all depending on where he was sitting.
Yeah, he was with the rich people.
Because if he was in the student section or he was with the drunk people up top, that would have been a fight.
The Doug's video was better.
Doug's video was
Oh.
much
He almost
better.
died.
Yeah.
And it was so genuine.
It was such a fat guy move, and I've done it before. I did it at Omaha last year, where I yell, yell, yell.
You gotta sit down.
And then all of a sudden, you just got to sit down. Like, oh, your body's like, what are you doing? Chill out.
That was awesome.
I
And he
was-
was up with the comment.
We've
folks.
got to move on.
No,
from
I
this
know.
game.
I know. I was texting Megan Making Money yesterday, and she was very, very sad about it. If I'm an LSU fan, I don't know if I get over what happened at the end of that game for a long time.
Well, you can get over it as long as you come out a better team.
What's in SEC
I'm not
loss?
sure. I'm not sure they're going to come out a better team.
Well-
like I think we're going to go down there and beat their fucking ass in a couple weeks.
But you know how it is. Like, I mean, I know Memphis
If we talk
last year.
more about LSU,
No, I'm
I'm
talking
gonna-
about Memphis now. I'm talking about how you guys got, you spitefully came back this year, but like it took a whole year for you to get over that.
Yeah, I'm still not over it.
Exactly. So
You know, Jack, I've been going through some trouble with a body part not really working the way it's supposed to.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, my voice. My
Oh.
voice hasn't. What are y'all talking about?
I thought you were going to talk about.
I thought you
body
were mentioning something else, but hey,
No, my voice.
I did
hasn't
know
been
about
working all
this.
that good. Sometimes your body parts just don't work as they're intended. They don't do the job. They don't last as long as
It's
you want
nothing
to.
to laugh at.
You know what that reminds me of?
Oh no.
Your penis.
yes.
That thing hanging between your legs. Your pecker. Your tallywhacker. Your pilly packer. Your goober. That thing. It's right down there, and you lay down for sexy time with whoever you're
Your
laying
third
down for
leg.
sexy time with. You lay down, and you're like, oh, Sorry, it didn't last very long. You need to get rid of those times, gentlemen. You need to make sure it lasts. You need to make sure the pleasure lasts for your lady, yourself, everybody involved. And that's why we have Roman Swipes.
Roman has been with us for a little bit now. We love Roman. We love the ads that you do for Roman. It really excites me. And sometimes you get excited, but too excited, and the body parts don't work, or they're working too fast.
Yeah.
And you know who can help? Roman Swipes.
They're convenient, over-the-counter wipes that are clinically proven to help you last longer in bed. They're uniquely formulated to reduce overstimulation without eliminating sensation altogether. You know, in a 2019 study, they were proven to increase time to orgasm by more than 4 times.
And this is how you use it. You remove the disposable swipe from its discreet pocket-sized pack, wipe on the most sensitive parts of your penis.
Which is the whole thing.
Yeah. And then after that, this is very important, allow it to dry to 5 minutes so it does not transfer to your partner, which it doesn't.
Good. When used as directed, Roman Swipes leave no scent or taste, and there's no transfer to your partner. They're safe, effective, no prescription needed. All Swipes orders include free 2-day shipping and arrive in unmarked packaging. Try it today for as little as $2.75 a swipe. Try Swipes today with a special offer just for our listeners. Tell them about it.
Try Swipes today, and you're going to get 20% off your first order at GetRoman.com/Walker today. That's right, GetRoman.com/Walker today. That's GetRoman.com/Walker for 20% off your first order. Come on, guys. Get over there.
Good luck, penis. Monday night, we had the Clemson Tigers. We had the Clemson Tigers against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and for a half, this was a slugfest. For really end of the third quarter, it was, because it was 14-3 at the half, Clemson after a scoreless first quarter, and then Georgia Tech scores early in the second half, it's 14-10, and Clemson took over from there. And I think there was, you know, we often talk on this show and on every show about don't overreact to week one. Don't overreact to week one, and then everybody overreacts to week one. But I think Clemson ran into a phenomenon where everybody overreacted to half of week one. In the first half, they were not very good. They couldn't move the ball. In the second half, they were far and away the better team. They went in the locker room, they figured it out, and they beat Georgia Tech the way they were supposed to beat Georgia Tech. I don't come out of this with a lower opinion about Clemson at all. I want to get to your take in a minute, but what do you think, Kayce?
I agree with you that we jumped on it too early. I mean, I was tweeting it during the first half. Does Clemson stink? However, I do come out of it a little less impressed because I thought and we've talked about how good their defense was last year. Their defense is still a very, very good defense. Is DJ going to come out and be better? He was better in the second half, but he was so bad in the first half that to me it was like,
hold that.
No, I know the numbers, and I have a feeling I know what Jack's going to say, but just watching that game from what I expected to see DJ do, and I know it's been a couple years, but I always go back to, well, we don't need Trevor Lawrence. Look the way DJ just beat Notre Dame. And it's like, he was never going to be Trevor Lawrence, and he did not come out in week one giving me a lot of confidence that he's going to be their
I'm going to let
savior.
Jack say his take, and then I'm going to tell you the truth about DJ Uiagalelei. Go.
No, I think he's fine. The first half was the first half. This was a situation where it was the only game on. If this game happened at 3:30, we wouldn't even probably we would have been like, oh, Clemson, they ended up winning 41-10. Now I understand it, but I also think there was they were not humming perfectly in the first half. I don't think he stunk in the first half. There were some times I was like, the fumble and whatnot.
His footwork was a little spotty.
The offensive line also
didn't. He was panicking a lot.
But the second half, I think, for whatever reason, and I think the best thing that I heard about DJ throughout the entire game was he just has to get back to having fun playing football like he did against Notre Dame and probably like he did it when he played in high school. Maybe the lights were too bright last year. But the second half, he was throwing some really good passes. Do I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country? No. But I think he's good enough to win them.
The conference?
Oh, I think it's good enough to get them to the college football playoff.
All right, here's the thing. Here's my thing about DJ. Is he a great quarterback? No, I don't think that he is. But the problem with DJ is not a problem with DJ. He's fine. Whatever. He's what he is. The problem is everywhere else on Clemson's offense. It's a weak offensive line. They were getting pushed around by Georgia Tech up front. That's not an offensive line of a team that recruits where Clemson recruits. That's a weak offensive line. Their skill position players, there's not any weapons. They ran 40 times last night for 127 yards, 3.2 yards. Will Shipley's the best you got. Like he's not scary. You don't have anybody scary at receiver. You don't have anybody scary at tight end. You don't have even a Jordan Leggett on this team. You certainly don't have a Samuel Watkins, and you don't have a T.
You don't
Higgins.
have a Renfro.
You don't have Renfro. You don't have any of the. think of Clemson in the last 10 years. You can name 5 elite receivers. You can name elite tight ends. You can name elite running backs. None of them are on this team.
And the receivers not only, I mean, because you talk about the drop passes. Like, we saw that happen a few times. It was egregious. But just, like, on a regular play, they were struggling to get separation a lot. And
They can't get open, and he can't get protection. Will Shipley, if he gets the ball, there's no explosiveness. Like,
the play calling was kind of like blah, but I'm not completely blaming it on DJ by any stretch of the imagination. However, I don't think that it's completely unfair to judge the offense last night and say they figured it out in the second half. However, it was against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has not been a good team the last few years. That they came out a lot slower and a lot less improved than I thought that they would after what happened last year.
Bo Collins, man. DJ threw 2 passes to him, I think, on the same drive that Bo Collins literally had in his hands, and they just went through.
Dropped. I mean,
Now, you're right. If they want to beat elite teams and be elite like we know Clemson could be elite, then they need to step it up, specifically on offense. But, man, that defense, dude.
Yeah, they're.
I mean, we're going to have to see them against some better competition, but Jesus
so good.
Christ, man.
Your tweet about, and I think it was in the first half, it had to have been, is that their offense.
It's a 12-0. It's a 12-0 defense with a 4-8 offense, and I do that tweet every year.
But it was so accurate. In the middle of just watching that, it was just like, how frustrating would it be to be a Clemson fan or a defensive player on that team and be like, look how awesome this side of the ball is, and look how putrid the other side is playing.
Cade did come on at the end and look pretty good.
But he wasn't facing a defense when it was tied 0-0. He was facing a defense that was tired, maybe
but that's
backups.
not going to matter to the irrational Clemson fan.
And also, I got this from Jason Brown, Coach Jason Brown. Man, he breaks down. I love that guy. Anyways, he was saying, and I agree with him, if they were up in that game 34-10, and they brought him in, and they were like, no, we want to see what you got. Yeah. Is that because they don't believe in DJ, or is it like, no, we just want to get you in there?
I think that it was just, in case we need this guy, let's get this guy ready whenever we can get this guy ready.
And I think he looked good. I wasn't against backups, but it was against a team that was kind of defeated. But go ahead.
And no, you're right. And I think that people are going to overreact because of the way that DJ looked. But then, after the game, their offensive coordinator said, don't get any ideas. Like, DJ is still starting. DJ deserves to start. The fact that he even had to say that tells you that there was already chatter that was getting to him that they would want Cade to start. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, the whole first half was chatter about that. Everybody was talking about it on Twitter.
And he was like,
and then,
no.
If we want to give somebody credit on the show, Katie was saying Cade's going to start by. She was saying when we were looking at Clemson back in July. No, I think Cade's going to start by halfway through the year, which may end up being true.
Yeah, I'll even give you. I said that he'll start at some point, whether it's injury or not. But I mean, I feel at this point it's an easy. We're going to see him here and there, whether it's an official capacity or not. Like garbage time, we're definitely going to, because boosters and fans will get in heads.
Will they get in Dabo's head though?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that guy cares more about what people think than any coach in the country.
Did you see? And I know that in reading it in print is always different than actually hearing it. And I will be honest, like I was reading it, so I don't know his tone. But when he and Dabo and DJ both, and I know that they still won the game by 31 points, so it's not like it was some close win. But even Dabo was he still just had such like a positive spin on it. Like, I thought everything was great. I thought I mean, he didn't say those exact words. That's paraphrasing. And like DJ was like, I thought we played really well. And it's like, that's not what Clemson fans want to hear. This is fine, but if they struggle that way against a really good team or in ACC play for the rest of the season, they're not going to want to hear Dabo sit up there and be like, well, we got it done. Like, that's just not what fans want to hear.
Here's my thing. One last thing on this game. Jeff Collins is not a head coach. Jeff Collins just stinks. He's gone 3-9, 3-9, 3-9. Last night, you can see he just made a couple of decisions that were baffling. Georgia Tech can do better than this guy. This is hopefully the last season we'll have to see him try to be a head coach.
There was a lot of hype with him too. No, yeah.
It looked early like he was going to be pretty good, and then it just never materialized. I don't think Jeff Sims is a bad player. I just think he's overmatched with everything around him. So we move on.
What do you think that Georgia Tech needs to do to keep him?
Keep who?
Collins.
No, they don't need. They don't need to.
Not need to, but you think he's going to
What do you think Jeff Collins needs to do to save his job?
Yes. Better question.
I mean, he has to go to a bowl, I think.
And that's
think,
not gonna happen.
And listen, he's got Western Carolina, which he'll win. He's got Ole Miss at home, which he'll lose. He's got at UCF, which he'll lose. At Pitt, which he'll lose. Duke, he might win. Virginia, who knows?
Florida State,
at Florida State, he's going to lose. Virginia Tech, he might win. Miami, he's going to lose. North Carolina's going to lose. Georgia, he's going to lose.
He's done.
I just don't see it. There's just no talent there. There's no. I see nothing with Georgia Tech. They're a dead program. They're a dead stick
brutal.
floating in the
Because they were incredibly relevant for about 15 years there.
Yeah.
The triple option.
And they're in Atlanta. They're in fucking Atlanta. If you didn't know how to coach or recruit at all, but you could draft where you got to coach, you would pick Atlanta because you ought to be able to just stumble into talent. And he does.
Like just completely
And
by
Florida's
accident.
down the road.
Yeah, just make a circle, and see what if I can get half the players in that circle, I'm gonna have a winning team. This is the AP top 25 in front of us.
Yep.
So Georgia ended up moving up, and I knew Georgia would get. I don't know how many votes I said the other day. They went from 3 votes, first place votes, a couple of weeks ago in the preseason. Now they got 17 votes. So 14 people decided 49-3 over Oregon was enough to make them the number 1 team in the country, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind watching a team and saying, "Wow, this is the best team in the country," because if we're being honest, they were the most impressive team in Week 1 based on who they played. Now, Alabama, who's my number 1, won 55-0 over Utah State, who's not exactly just not a pushover. They're not like Mercer or something, but. I would have Alabama 1, but I understand why people have Georgia 1.
This is my top 3 stayed the same. I had Alabama 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3 going into last week. It obviously stayed the same for me, but it's the same thing we talked about on Saturday night. And I said this when I picked Georgia as my winner of the week. Yes, Alabama absolutely shellacked a team. Georgia did it against the 11th team in the country. They shouldn't have been the 11th team in the country, but they were, and it was that primetime game, and it was an absolute bloodbath. Alabama fans are like, no, we're still number 1. Yeah, no, you're still ranked number 1 because you were there. Georgia was the most impressive team, and I thought they should have been 2 going into this
But here's the
season.
thing.
But
Alabama has their chance to get it back, to
definitely.
flip it this weekend when they go to Texas.
But the interesting thing for me after it's 1, 2, 3, I say the same. It might have flipped for some people. Ohio State falling to 3. Then afterwards, like making my top 25 today was so much harder than it should have been after the top 3.
I have a couple of things about top 25. Let me go through it real quick. The top 10. Alabama number 1, 44 votes. UGA. Georgia's 2 with 17. Ohio State. Michigan at 4. Clemson at 5. A&M at 6. Oklahoma 7, 8 Notre Dame, 9 Baylor, 10 USC, followed by number 11 Oklahoma State, 12 Florida. Florida all the way up to 12. 13 Utah, 14 Michigan State, 15 Miami, 16 Arkansas, 17 Pitt, 18 NC State, 19 Wisconsin, 20 Kentucky, 21 BYU, 22 Ole Miss, 23 Wake, 24 Tennessee, and 25 Houston. Now, I never do this homer stuff that I'm about to do.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys aren't.
I agree.
But
I don't know.
actually,
Clemson
one thing before I do the homer stuff. Ohio State's number 3 with 2 first place votes.
Mm-hmm.
Who were those 2 people?
Give me a second.
Like I don't mind loving a team and putting them very high, but I don't know how you came out of that Notre Dame that it was kind of a slog. Like there was nothing about their offense that looked very good. Like that they won a game against a top 5 team. I guess. But better than Georgia, better than Alabama.
2 of the 6 guys that put them number 1 in week 1 saw that they beat the number 5 ranked team by 11 points. We're like, okay, I still think they're pretty good. But I agree with you. They did not look like number 1 team in the country.
They did not.
Bob Asmussen and
where does he work?
Illinois and South Carolina, California. Adam Grossbard.
Okay, that's actually surprising.
Now,
I agree with Jack. The same question I asked you when you were eating lunch. I interrupted your beautiful salad eating. Is that so many times when you're making these polls, you have to pay attention to what you did the week before, even though sometimes you want to throw it out the window. Those 2 guys very clearly were like, well, I can't drop them. I voted them number 1 in week 1, and they only lost to the number 5 team in the country. That's they were solely looking at where they had them ranked before.
All right, so we move on real quick in the AP Top 25. I'm going to start at 16. Is 16 Arkansas better than unranked Mississippi State? No. Is 17 Pitt better than unranked Mississippi State? No. Is 18 NC State better than Mississippi State? No. Is 19 Wisconsin better than Mississippi State? Maybe. Is 20 Kentucky better than Mississippi State? No. Is 21 BYU better than Mississippi State? Maybe. Is 22 Ole Miss better than Mississippi State? No. Is 23 Wake Forest? No. Is 24 Tennessee? Maybe. Is 25 Houston? Definitely not.
Definitely not.
I'm surprised they were ranked.
We beat the fucking piss out of Memphis.
You have receiving 10 votes.
By the way,
Only 10?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Who's right at 26? Who's at 26?
It goes Oregon 131, Penn State at 122,
How
Texas.
Penn State not get in, by the way?
It's insane.
Penn State won a road game at Purdue. I like Purdue's not a bad football
Because
team.
it goes back to what we were just saying. They look at what they were doing the week before, which is a danger with these polls. Because if everybody just every week had like a Men in Black and just scanned their thing, okay,
Auburn has more votes than you.
That's because I think it's where people had them before.
But why? That doesn't make sense. Because why would they have them ahead of us before?
I'm not. I honestly, I wish that every single week.
Time. Just stop. All right. I don't really love overreacting week 1, but if Florida goes to 12 after beating Utah at home,
Yes.
I got to put Florida State in the top 25 for winning in New Orleans. Florida State's unranked. Florida State is 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. They got 42 votes. They're 30th in the country. I think Florida State should be ranked right now.
I would agree. I think that it's much easier though to look at Florida and say, even though Utah was overrated at number 7.
I don't know that they were overrated.
But I think it's much easier to say we should rank Florida because they beat a top 10 team. LSU
No,
wasn't
Florida
ranked.
definitely should be ranked.
Right.
No doubt about
But
it.
I'm saying like versus the Florida State argument. Like if you have Florida ranked, I agree Florida State should probably be ranked. Again, this was way harder than it should have been for me, but LSU wasn't ranked, so that's
but
where
you still walked into Tiger Stadium.
I agree.
You
Or not Tiger
guys-
Stadium, but it's Superdome.
You guys got worse. You had 15 votes in week 1.
I don't know. I think people just looked at the score. It's 49-23, but it was 35-3 after the break. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
You
Doesn't
guys had
matter.
the same
None of
amount
that
as
matters.
Auburn.
None of that matters.
No, and the AP doesn't matter. The coaches poll doesn't matter.
It's college football season again. You know that. If you're listening, you know that. It's football season. NFL starts on Thursday. There's a lot going on. There's baseball going on. It's maybe playoffs before we know it. There's Champions League soccer. There's so much going on right now in the sports world. And guess what? As we know here, we have the Barstool Sportsbook. We like to indulge in betting sometimes responsibly.
Responsibly.
But for the convenience, we do want somebody like Skrill, who's the perfect digital wallet for gamblers because it was built for gamblers.
And sophisticated gamblers use it, right, Jack?
Yes, they use it to manage their bankroll, whether they're playing games like poker or betting on their favorite sports. So it could be college football, NFL, UFC, whatever you bet on, Skrill is going to help you manage your bankroll.
And if sophisticated bettors use it,
Then-
then I can use it too.
Like us, yes, 1,000%. They make it mega easy. They manage their bankroll using the wallet, which allows them to pay instantly and securely. It's payments without limits, basically. You can access your bankroll with instant deposits and withdrawals and also draw the cash using your prepaid card. Let's just say Skrill is the perfect digital wallet for sports bettors, so it's a no-brainer to create your free account right this instant. All right, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to sign up at Skrill.com/Barstool. That's SKRILL.com/Barstool. You're going to create your free account and complete the account verification by clicking, quote-unquote, the follow the game button after registering so you can start using the digital wallet today. That's right. Go over to Skrill.com/Barstool, SKRILL. Oh, no, there's only 2 L's, .com/Barstool, and you're going to create your free account today. And don't forget to click that follow the game button.
Follow the game. Follow the game.
And then you'll be right there managing your bankroll and taking your betting to the next level.
I got 5 teams here, and I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Is their week 1 performance something you flush and forget about and don't worry about it? You think they're going to be fine? Or are there problems? I got 5 teams. Does everybody understand the concept?
I do.
Yep.
Do you flush it? Or are you paying attention?
Yeah, I'm marking timestamps.
Okay.
He's doing his job, Brandon.
I understand. I just want to participate in the conversation.
No,
Okay.
I'm ready for this.
Okay, all right. Do you flush, or problems? Flush or problems, okay? Flushing means
Yeah, Jack and I both did the same one at
They'll
the
be
same
fine.
time. Okay.
Is there a better thing that flush
Yeah,
or?
flush-
I need another
Yeah.
F.
Yeah, flush or
Forget.
fucked.
Flush or forget. No, flush is forget.
Flush or
No.
clogged?
No, not
Ew.
that.
Yeah, no, we're not doing
Okay.
it. But are you
Temper-
saying
it's
are you
about-
saying flush the performance down the toilet or
Flush
flush the
it. Don't
team?
worry about it. Don't worry. It's not going to be an
It was,
issue.
it was a
Clogged.
getting the rust off from the off
Flush or
season.
clogged?
Okay, no.
No.
Forget or remember. Forget or
No.
Forget or fucked.
I said fucked too.
forget or fucked is
Okay.
good.
I said
Forget or
flush
fucked is good.
KDW.
Yeah, all right. Common KDW.
No,
by the
I
way.
would say rare. Well, other people say rare.
I never
right.
said rare. I just said KDW.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Sorry.
Forget or fucked.
I do feel like this could be potentially a problem if we want to segment this out on YouTube, but that's just me thinking Okay.
We can figure it out.
NC State. Do you forget it and move on, or are they a little fucked?
I'll start with Katie because I know she had him winning the ACC.
I want to see one more game to make
No,
it. But let me finish the sentence. I'm gonna say forget. Because I'm gonna chalk it up as a
Kayce Smith?
in-state conference game.
I think they're fucked.
I think they're. I was almost willing to.
I think they're fucked because of what else is happening in the ACC.
I think they might be fucked too because I think Miami's good. I think Florida State's pretty good.
I think Clemson is, even though we talk about how bad their first half was, like
They have to go to Clemson.
Remember last year, Florida State played Notre Dame, huge
Oh,
game, and then Florida State
that
fell
there's
off.
several candidates for that to happen this
Okay.
year. We all thought, oh, Florida State's good. But
ECU really they won the
blew it.
box score.
yeah,
they should have won that game.
they
like
outgained them by 40 yards.
College
yards
kickers.
more yards per play.
Everything about
ECU
them
hit their
was
team
better.
total under.
I think they're fucked, and that's just with the expectations where they come into the season where we thought that they would be.
All
I
right.
don't think they are.
Now here's one that
Jack didn't say.
forget or fucked.
I'm forgetting about it for now, but I'm about ready to fuck them.
If they get it, you're forgetting it now, but if they get fucked later, you're going to be like, okay, well, we should have.
There's a lot of red flags.
Yeah.
Red flag city.
A lot of red flags.
Wait, maybe we call it red flag or green flag.
It is more family friendly.
Green flag means we forget it and we go.
Yeah, keep
Red
going.
flag means we're fucked.
Yes.
Red
Yes.
flag. There's
See, I don't.
A more family friendly.
So you have a green flag, Katie, for NC State. You have a
Red.
red flag. You have a green flag, but you've got the red in your other
He's
hand.
yellow flag.
and I'm almost cautioned.
He's
in them.
a yellow flag.
All right.
We're not going to find out until they play UConn. They have a cake schedule.
I
Until
think.
then.
I think.
Texas Tech
Sorry,
is better
Clemson.
than you.
Clemson.
No, I think Texas Tech's a test
Texas
for them
Tech,
too.
yeah.
It's
But
tough, but not.
I'm gonna forget it. I'm gonna give them a green flag, but
I'm the only one with the red flag, huh?
October is gonna be something for them. October.
I think they could lose to Texas Tech.
They could, but I don't think they will. The LSU Tigers.
Green flag.
Green?
Well, it depends on it. So caveats. Here we go.
No, I don't. I want to disagree with you as
No,
much
no,
as
no,
we
no.
can.
This is the reason I'm saying that I have a green flag is because I didn't expect LSU to be that good this season, anyways.
Sure.
So it's like if I had LSU higher up, then I would say red flag. I'm not buying them. I didn't think they were going to be that good. So my green flag is like, well, I don't think they're fucked because I thought they were fucked beforehand.
Can they get to 6 wins?
Southern, New Mexico.
2.
I don't know if they're beating Auburn. I think they can beat Ole Miss.
Imagine if they lose to Auburn.
I think
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, their
boy.
SEC schedule. Their
Boy.
SEC schedule. They got Mississippi State at home, which, for sake of argument, y'all give them a win, fine. But they go to Auburn, to Florida, to Arkansas, to A&M. That's 4 losses. They got Alabama at home.
Loss.
They got Ole Miss at home.
Eh,
They got Tennessee and Mississippi State at home.
eh.
They
A
go
lot
2
of
and 6 in the SEC.
Imagine they go 4-8.
That's why
You could see a 3-9.
I'm in where I think they should be. I'm giving them the green flag and saying, go about your business. I don't think that
You
you are.
think they could go
I
defeated in
I
the
think
SEC?
They go
I-
6-6, and
they'll
it would
catch
not shock
somebody.
me at all.
Probably
They'll catch
us.
somebody, yeah.
I think their back half of the schedule, they're going to be better than the first half.
I just don't know how. I mean, it just gets so
Alabama,
tough.
Arkansas, and yes, they're going
Not
to beat UAB, but just like their last 4 games.
Not necessarily score like winning or losing, but I think score wise, I think because they have enough talent on their roster, I think they just need more time to.
Yeah, I mean,
to-
And I don't,
But
I don't mind that you said that, Katie. But at what point are we going to stop saying they have talent on their roster? Like, I understand by the recruiting rankings they have talent, but 2 years ago they had talent on their roster and they had a losing season. Last year, talent on the roster, losing season. Like, maybe their roster isn't as talented as we like to pretend that it is.
it's the age-old question, man. You're right. It's. I'll be pro recruiting to the end, but then there's that. How do you go 2-6 with a
Right.
top 10 recruiting? Like, I don't know.
And also,
really don't know.
when you look at, that's true. If we use the argument that, and it's a fair thing to say, but if you use the argument they're going to be better in the second half of the schedule, everybody's going to be
I
better
like
in the
forget
second
or
half.
fuck better than green flag, red flag.
All right, then
All right,
forget
fine,
or
but-
fuck.
All right,
tried
so
to be
you're
family
forgetting it and saying
I'm
it's-
forgetting it because I forgot it beforehand.
Katie, forget or fucked on LSU.
Jack had a yellow flag.
You got a yellow flag on them. All right,
Forget for now. Caution City.
they're fucked.
Actually, I'll go with you. I think
They're
they're
fucked.
fucked.
They don't have a quarter. Their receivers don't like their quarterback. Their
Which is
receivers don't
weird.
like their coach.
The fans don't like their coach.
The fans don't like the quarterback. Like, nothing about this recipe comes out smelling like gumbo.
Nice. I see what you did there.
Thanks.
I do want some gumbo. Then now that you said that, that sounds very nice.
Let's move on to my next team, the Clemson Tigers.
Fucked.
Forget.
I say forget as well.
Whoa.
You, Jack?
Oh, wait.
We can't stop and bog down on every team, so we're just going to move on.
No, like the firmest. I think they should be in this segment. That's
Okay,
how
that's-
forgetting.
I mean, forget.
Can I
completely
amend that
forget.
to just be fucked while DJ is still starter?
Maybe. I got one more team here.
You
Tell me.
forgetting them, I assume? Or forgetting it?
Oh, they're fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clemson's
Yeah.
will be in the playoff conversation, in my opinion. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
It's a good one.
Because they're getting an awful lot of credit for just losing by double digits. They're getting an awful lot of credit for walking there. Oh, they didn't get killed. Yeah, but they got to 10 points, and then they couldn't do anything. And that either means Ohio State went from a terrible defense to otherworldly, or Notre Dame's offense stinks.
Notre
and I
Dame's
think that's
offense-
possible.
I think it might not stink per se, but it's definitely more of an indication on where their offense is than if Ohio State's defense got that much better.
Yeah, they went from 5 to 8, which is fine. I don't know where you would put them. I would have them 6 or 7, something like that. But man, they are getting a lot of credit for just not embarrassing themselves.
100%.
And I feel like Notre Dame as a program ought to have a higher bar than just not embarrassing yourself.
I think the reason that and I do agree with that, because normally when they're on that stage in the college football playoff, they do embarrass themselves. I think the not embarrassing themselves is not necessarily what voters are looking at. It's more of like they think Ohio State is still that good, which I'm not sure that they're necessarily wrong. We'll have to see what happens in Big Ten play. But I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, well, Notre Dame didn't embarrass themselves, they should stay in the top 10. It's more of like Ohio State is so good, and they kept it close for most of that game. We can't let them fall too far.
Can I add one forget or fucked? It's a player.
Who is it?
Spencer Rattler.
Forget.
He might be fucked. He didn't
So
look
on
very good,
Saturday
and
night,
his offensive line stinks.
23 of 37, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions for South Carolina against Georgia State. Georgia State's going to be a decent Sun Belt team this year, but he didn't look phenomenal.
No, he didn't.
And he's got a big game this week against Arkansas. That's a sneaky game of the week contender, at least in my mind. Two programs that are kind of on the up and up. And so, yeah,
you get
QBR
that
of
right by-
28.6 from Spencer
Terrible.
Rattler.
Did you get that right on top of your head? That's
What?
impressive.
No, I wrote down some notes, and I have it in a note. He didn't look great, and he's a guy that I'm wondering how you guys are feeling about.
I would say that if we could do yellow flags in this situation, I would throw up a yellow flag. If I have to pick forget or fucked, I'm going to say forget, just because it is a new team. Granted, not against a great opponent. I still think Spencer Rattler is way more talented than a 28.6 QBR.
I would just say if we redid SEC quarterback rankings, mine would look dramatically different after 1 week.
There's
Anthony Richardson jumps way up.
I don't
Stetson
even remember
Bennett
what
jumps
ours
up.
were. I don't even remember what they were.
we blow them up.
Oh, I had
There's
Stetson Bennett high.
there's two teams that I definitely think are fucked.
I had JT
or at
Daniels
least
high,
coaches.
too.
Who?
I think Scott Satterfield's fucked,
Yeah.
and I think Navy's fucked.
Navy losing to Delaware 14-7 and it's
Yuck.
not doing anything.
Navy's gone 3-7 and 4-8 and now 0-1 in the past 3 seasons. You remember when Ken, I can't say his last name, he was connected to all these Power 5 jobs? Now he let Army take over the #1 reign and Air Force.
So
Spencer
Louisville's
Rattler.
interesting. Louisville's very interesting too because they had a little bit of buzz. And Malik Cunningham, they scored 7 points at Syracuse.
I think they're a great buy low spot against UCF this weekend.
So let's do it very quickly. I had Bryce Young. We all had Bryce Young across the board. I don't think that's changed. Katie had Stetson Bennett second. And Anthony Richardson, look at Katie's ranking.
And
That
this
was-
is pre-redoing Hendon Hooker.
That's fine, but you had Bryce Young 1, Stetson Bennett 2,
That's
and
good.
Anthony Richardson 3. That's a common Katie
W.
W.
That's a- yeah.
W.
That's it.
Boy,
W.
I did say I wanted that number 4 to be correct, but Katie, that was...
Yeah, no. If I redid this right now, I'd probably take the Texas
She'd
A&M off.
ruin it. She'd
Jackson
she-
Dart.
No, but
First half's good.
on
You
mine,
can
I
crop
would
it
definitely...
with just the top 6.
Although- now
Spencer
listen.
Rattler dropped.
We all had Hendon Hooker too, and there's certainly been nothing to happen so far to take him out
No,
of.
definitely not.
Like, he's
No.
fine. I had Spencer Rattler 3. I would drop him immediately. You had Stetson Bennett 3, Kayce.
I did.
Jack had KJ Jefferson. He probably wouldn't change that very much. Will Rogers at 4 is one of the biggest bargains in the world.
Other than my Spencer Rattler at 5, I don't think that I
I'd
would
probably
change much
put
with mine.
Anthony. I'd put Anthony at 5,
Yeah.
and then It's tough. How would you do it right now?
I think Anthony Richardson's got to be like 1, 2, or 3. Not 1, but 2 or 3.
And then where's Stetson?
I think 2 or 3. I think as of right now,
But
that's where they
Hendon
are.
Hooker-
Man, the
you have
quarterbacks are loaded this year in the
Well,
SEC.
how do you drop Hendon Hooker that far? I mean,
You just do. You just
Yeah, I
do.
think you just do.
When he goes to Pitt, he'll have a chance to get back up
I mean,
there.
what
but
Anthony Richardson did on Saturday was insane.
Anthony Richardson beat a top 10 team. Came
Definitely.
from behind in the
No,
fourth
no,
quarter to do it, and then
definitely.
Stetson Bennett was incredible. Like I got him ahead of my guy, and
KJ Jefferson was good.
Only thing.
Yeah, I mean, Spencer Rattler being on anybody's list is just.
all right.
I've been on the fucked card for him since.
Let me
summer.
rattle through some takes.
Okay, I have a take too, but it kind of fits in the forget or fucked, but I can also do it on its own take. How would you like me to do it?
You just whatever.
Would you rather rattle off your takes and then me do one, or how? I mean, this is.
I should always go first.
Okay.
All
I
right.
hope you don't say that to your wife.
It's just understood at this point.
Sad.
So, one of my biggest takeaways from week 1 is the state of Florida might be back, and that's so good for college football. It's so good to have a relevant state of California with USC. It's so good to have a relevant state of Florida with Florida State, Miami. All three. Listen, Miami beat Bethune-Cookman. That's nothing to celebrate. But they're good. I think they're good. They got a good quarterback. They got a good young coach now. They're going in the right direction. They won 70-13. They did exactly what you do to a bad team. The bigger story is Florida State going to Louisiana, going to New Orleans and beating LSU's ass, and then Florida beating a top 10 team at home. Those are two programs that needed a shot of adrenaline, needed something to happen early. Florida State's 2-0 with a good chance of being 5-0 going into NC State. Florida, another big game this weekend against Kentucky. Miami's going to be there. The state of Florida took a huge step forward of being more relevant in football, and that is a gigantic thing for college football. I love that these three teams appear to be not back, but back-ish.
The best part of that too is because when I know you put the poll out and we've talked about it on this podcast in the offseason. It's like, what's the bigger brand, Florida State, or Miami? The fact that right now, where we're sitting on September the 6th, all three of them are in that conversation where it's like, if just Florida State was good again, or just Florida, or just Miami, it doesn't make it as much fun. Those three teams all hate each other so much that right now they're all in the conversation of being, quote, back. Love it.
Florida State, Miami's going to be a hell of a game.
Hell of a game.
Yeah. Florida State, Florida has a chance to be a hell of a game.
That's a
at the
great
end of the
point.
season.
Yeah. Thank God for that.
We're going to my next take. We're going to Iowa City this weekend. Iowa fans, when is enough? Like, you guys are locked into the weirdest thing I've ever seen because you have a coach that wins 70% of his games. You win. But God damn it, is it hard to watch? Is it? And you know there's no ceiling. You know that you live in a moderately priced 2-bedroom ranch with 7-foot ceilings. But it's comfortable. It's warm in the winter, and you have food in the fridge. But nobody's riding past your house and being like, "Whoa, I wish I lived there." Nobody wishes they were Iowa, even though you win 7-3 over South Dakota State. An offense that's going to be the worst in the country, one of the worst in the country again. A quarterback who's one of the worst in the country again. All it would take is one transfer portal quarterback, and the Ferentz guys can't do it. They can't do it. Like, do you ever get sick of being just pretty good with an obvious ceiling on your program?
Also, do you ever get sick of just being boring? Like, that's like, and I know that that's the Iowa brand, and I get that. It's like, oh, it's a Big Ten game. They only scored 7 points. Like, at what point is it like, no, you just should be better. Like, you should just score more points. Like, that to me, it's
I agree.
like, right? It's
My
like,
team should score more points.
my team should score more points. Like, if my team was consistently only scoring 7 points, especially in the way that they do, I'd be like, all right, like, I don't want to be known as the team.
Also, it's brutal
that stinks.
because as an Iowa fan, you look at it and you're like, once Kirk leaves, his son's coming through.
Oh, that's awful.
And it's just 40 more years of purgatory.
It's
Yeah.
the
Which
I mean-
isn't that bad because like they make it to the Big Ten championship game. But sometimes you gotta risk it to get the biscuit to get
There
a
you
little
go.
bit
You
more.
think when Kirk leaves that they're gonna let Brian take over?
It feels like
That's what
he's
it
going
looks
to at
like.
least try that. He's going to try that power play. Moving on to my next take, and this is one I've been sitting on for a while, and you see it most in Georgia games with Kirby Smart. There's a coach who is on staff whose job it is to put his hand in the ass of Kirby Smart's pants and pull him back.
Get back coach.
He's the get back coach. And he follows Kirby Smart around like a puppy dog, sticking his hand into his pants. I don't know what that guy's name is, but surely you dreamed of better for yourself. What are we doing in college football that a head coach can't be relied on to get himself back? Look at this guy. This guy stands around with his hand in Kirby Smart's pants. That really what? That's a grown ass man.
It's a grown ass man, but can I go against you?
Kirby, stand your ass on the sidelines. Why do you need somebody holding your diaper?
He needs
That's
a babysitter.
pathetic.
It is. It's a pathetic thing. However, here's my spin zone on this. Because I know you're not a Game of Thrones person. I know you're not a House of the Dragon person, but the hand of the king is a very important person.
His hand's in his butthole the whole night.
I know. However,
Kirby's sweating, stinking.
You know how much that guy has to, that Kirby has to trust that guy. You can't just have any guy sticking your hand down the back of my pants.
I do think it's belt loop or pocket.
Who cares? It's still right in his ass.
Regardless, I'm just telling you that, let's just say that, at Barstool, you had to have somebody doing that for you for whatever reason, maybe not to shove another employee. I don't know. Let's just hypothetically say if you had to do that, you wouldn't just let some bozo do it. You would have your most trusted person putting their hand down the back of your pants, right?
I think they use strength coaches that don't have a lot to do on game day, and they just go out there with their polo. Also, by the way, Nike stole Peter Millar's entire flow, with these polos, they look exactly like Peter Millar. And then now, there's another one. That's a strength coach. But how do they not know? I'm with you. They're grown men. How do they not know to go across? Imagine if a player went on the field like that, they would get.
Hey Kirby, there's a big field. It's 47 yards or 53 yards wide. The green part, don't be on it. If it's wide under your feet, you're good.
I'm telling you that I feel like if I was a head coach, and I feel like if you were a head coach, we both have a little bit of temper on us that we might need every once in a while to be brought back.
Here's the thing, Kayce. Do you see baseball manager? Do you see baseball coaches having to hold their manager in the dugout? Do you see basketball coaches having to have a leash on their basketball coach?
Definitely not.
You don't see a hockey coach floating out on the ice.
Awesome though. No, I agree with you. I think that they should know better. However, I'm just saying that if I was in a position like that and I had enough power, it's when we talk about Nick Saban is the king and he could just pick his team to play pickup basketball, and then at halftime, if he doesn't like, he just switches it up. If you have that much power and you're like, you know what? I need somebody to remind me not to look like an asshole. You can't just pick anybody. That guy, again, hypothetically, Brandon, let's say that this was happening to you. If, say, Ben Mintz put his hand down the back of your pants and tried to pull you back, you'd fight him, right? Let's say TJ hit.
I think I would have to, yeah.
If TJ did it, you'd be like, all right, he knows what's best for me. I'm going to allow him to do it. I feel like that guy might be the most important person on the sideline other than Kirby Smart.
No.
Why?
No,
I understand. It's a rhetorical question.
Because Kirby needs him so badly to make sure that he doesn't run out on the field that he trusts him enough to touch his asshole.
So when Kirby,
let anybody touch your asshole?
No. But so when Kirby goes to the grocery store, does he have to have somebody guiding him by the butt? Oh no, don't go there. Don't put your hand in the lobster tank.
Courtside at a Georgia basketball game. Does
Maybe.
that guy have to come?
Right. Hey, listen, I like the get back coach, and I would say right now, not just because she's in the room, if I was gonna have a get back coach, I would trust Katie to stick her hand down my pants. I wouldn't just trust anybody. It's a trust factor.
I'm not sticking my hand down your pants.
I wouldn't ask you to. I wouldn't ask you to.
He's a grown-ass man.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's so funny, and I also just think that, when that guy goes home, whatever his name are, whatever these get-back coaches' names are, which you're right, they're definitely on the strength and conditioning team, they go home and they're like, I got to go back over the tape and make sure I stuck my hand down his pants fast enough.
But in the NFL, it used to be get back coach 20 and 30 years ago. Their job was to tell all the players to get back. Don't crowd the sidelines. This is for the coaches. Get back. Now we can't trust grown men to not go on the field.
I love it.
Is Kirby Smart the dumbest human being that ever existed?
Well, there are other guys who do it too. It's just funnier because it's Kirby.
I think his is the most.
Did Brent Venables take his get back coach with him to Oklahoma? That's the biggest
yes,
coach.
The hand
biggest
of the king. You have to trust those people. Think about at our little.
He's like a mafia don driver.
I'm just imagining a world where it's 3rd and 7 at the Georgia's driving at the 31-yard line, and Kirby Smart is standing on the hash mark at the 40-yard line. His get-back coach is not anywhere to be found.
He's getting water. It appears.
We have to stop the game and get Kirby Smart. Like, is he an idiot?
I love it. I love it so much.
And then he looks around. And he's like, "Where am I?"
It's so funny to me. Yes, he's a grown-ass man, but let's appreciate it for what it is.
All right, no.
This is a man that sticks his hand down Kirby Smart's pants to make sure he doesn't run onto the field
right. Hand of the king.
uncontrollably.
Hand of the king?
Yes.
Kirby's kissing his wife out of the game. The guy's just dragging him.
Yeah. No.
Come back.
Or if he's like going to like if he's trying to eat well and like Kirby goes to get like one too many ice cream. He's like, no. Come here.
That'd be
I
a
love
funny
it.
Video.
I love it. I think it's great. It's you know what it is?
That coach in everyday life.
Everyday life.
You know,
yeah.
it's either the office linebacker type of vibe, or it's like with those old school Sports Center commercials. It's that funny.
Get back, coach. Yeah.
All right. I guess that was all the takes I had.
I have
some news.
I'm not gonna tell you the entire because list. We're gonna let a couple of weeks go by. But I got one because list guy. John Reese Plumlee at UCF was incredible.
So he's literally made
300 yards passing, 100 yards rushing. Be watching him.
He's literally made for Gus Malzahn.
All right, Kayce, you do your take.
My take, and I can't even remember now who the was it Greg McElroy? Who was the play-by-play on the LSU Florida State game?
Oh, that was McElroy.
It was McElroy?
Guy,
okay.
Yeah.
I heard him say it, and it was the most egregious, but they said it all weekend, multiple people. The idea that people are saying the Pac-12 is fucked out of the college football playoff in week 1 is insane because they're basing it on Utah losing to Florida. I get the idea because Utah was the highest ranked Pac-12 team. On what planet is the Pac-12 done out of the college football playoff? Greg McElroy said it. He was like, I don't know. Like, we might not see him in the college football playoff after what happened this weekend. What?
Well, I think USC very well is still in the playoff mix, and Utah could they go 11-1 and be in the playoff with a loss at Florida? Yeah.
Like, I know Oregon got absolutely destroyed. I get that.
Nothing.
But, like, the fact that we looked at, like, Utah played a pretty good game against Florida.
Lost a one-possession game on the road.
And USC absolutely destroyed Rice. I realize it was Rice, but it was just like all of a sudden now, because I don't think that they would say that about any other Power 5 conference except for the Pac-12. And I know we normally like to dump on the Pac-12, but I was reading things today and yesterday that was like, is the Pac-12 cooked? What? Why is this a thing?
People just like to overreact to week 1. And
then that's
they like to do it for teams, for players, for coaches, and for conferences. They just do.
But Pac-12 is the only one that they do that in week 1 with.
This was kind of my take, I remember, for the shit list, or sorry, the losers of the week with Pac-12. I think.
Oh yeah, Katie said it. No offense.
I think that they're the only conference. Like if Oklahoma had gone to Florida and lost this week, you might be hearing the same thing about the Big 12.
You know, I don't think
because people love Texas though.
Yeah, but they also love USC. Like there's only one left. It's an overreaction. That's all it is.
Like I don't think they're out. I think it just got that much harder because their strength of schedule just got diminished.
Like
with those two losses.
let's say Clemson lost they went to LSU and lost this week. I think people would be like, if their main team is out, people are like, the ACC might not be in the playoff this year.
Maybe it's just the recency thing with the Pac-12 because they're the forgotten conference sometimes. But I think that I would have said that if like Miami didn't put up 70 points, if Florida State didn't win. Like I think that if Clemson would have lost last night, I wouldn't have said that they were fucked.
I think USC has to go 12-0 for them to make the playoff. That's my final take.
I think an 11-1 USC with a loss at Utah could.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It depends.
It depends on who they lose to.
Because then it gets
into. Well, they would have
what if Michigan State or Michigan's 12-0 or
it's
11-1?
It's all contingent.
Yeah. I know.
It's all contingent.
But I found it very bizarre that it was not just like could they be in trouble? It was like no, they're done. Like did USC just die over the weekend? I'm
Okay, so Pete Thamel says sources: Wake Forest starting quarterback Sam Hartman has been medically cleared to return to competition by the school's medical experts. He's expected to start Saturday at Vanderbilt. He was sidelined August 10th with a non-football related medical condition. So Sam Hartman will miss, I guess, one game, right? He will miss one game and be back for Vanderbilt. So that really changes things for Wake Forest in a very good way. That line went from like 6 when it opened, now it's at 10.
No, it's at 14 last time I checked.
Oh, 14, excuse me. I'm sorry. So there you go. Sam Hartman, good. I don't think anybody, when it came out, wanted him to be gone, and now he's not. Kayshon Boutte erases everything from his Instagram, all his LSU. So does Malik Neighbors. Once again, Malik Neighbors was committed to Mississippi State all the way up until signing day and then failed at LSU. But
Malik,
you're welcome.
I bend that, Neighbors. Can't guard Malik.
Don't really have to if he's going to drop the punt every time.
Hashtag
I
outlook
said on
yesterday.
Twitter-
Hashtag bless up.
I said on Twitter that the post that he had up must have slipped through his hands.
Oh,
yeah.
good one.
That was an
Hey,
easy
can
joke.
we give Jack some major credit for his dunk on DK Metcalf?
Well, I don't think we need to give him just credit for that because.
Well, for everything.
Well,
but
no, real quick. The Unnecessary Roughness Twitter account today went over
yeah.
100,000.
Yay!
100,000. Now, I got to talk to you
Ooh.
guys. This is incredible. I don't know how many show accounts we have here over 100, but I assume they're the big shows. So Jack has done a lot of work.
And
Katie, Jack and Katie on the weekends and every time.
Katie helps a lot.
Our
a lot.
If we didn't even do a show, and this was just a Twitter account, it'd be one of the best college football accounts. on Twitter.
Definitely.
I appreciate
and
that.
on Instagram, too.
And Katie's a massive help. Katie sends so much stuff. Is on top of so
I will
much.
say this is like transparency. So I help find content because I have like a Twitter list. But Jack, everything you see come from Necessary Roughness, like all the wit, like I could not. That's all Jack. He
Y'all
has,
stop being nice to each other.
No. I text
Yeah.
Jack because she says the wit thing. I text Jack.
Well, let's tell people that may not have seen the
Okay.
DK Metcalf.
Okay, wait.
Oh.
One more thing about that. 100,000 on Twitter. We have a lot of people listen.
How many do we have on Instagram?
Here's what we need on YouTube.
155.
We need subscribers on YouTube. We're at 15. 100 on Twitter.
We're at almost
15 on
17.
YouTube.
We're almost at 17.
17 on YouTube. I need that number by the
Subscribe.
end of I need that to be 25 by the end of the week. We need to subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe. It helps us. It helps us. It helps us. It helps us.
You know what we need to do? We need to come up with like the.
Kayce will show her titties at 25,000.
Okay.
You see how many?
Brandon will show
you
his titties at 20.
Did you see how many people
30,
listened
she
to the
said
first one
30.
or watched the first?
Oh, I'd say it was up. Yeah,
Yes.
it was big.
But I'm about to read you a stat that is really, I really hate to do this stat, but
That means he loves it. He loves to do the stat.
fuck, I'm trying to find it.
Oh.
Good stat.
Oh, is this the sabermetrics one?
51% of you watching right now are unsubscribed. Please.
51%.
We don't spam you. Just subscribe, and you'll get the notification. Turn on that notification bell. 51% of the people that watched our last video are not subscribed.
That doesn't
Now,
make
I
any
do
sense.
have one
That
concern.
don't add up.
I do have one concern that if we grow the YouTube too much,
I know.
they'll cancel us and take the producers away.
Also,
That's a fair
big
concern.
analytics.
God
for,
damn it, that pisses me off. Hi.
He hasn't let
Big
it go.
analytics for our week one review. 2.8% of the viewers were female. That's probably
That's huge.
That's huge for us. We're
That's
usually
a lot of bitches.
that's like
It is.
usually 0.5%.
I will say I like the idea that more people are watching it. Obviously, so far we've been an audio first medium. We're trying to grow the YouTube. So if you're listening to this right now, not even if you're just watching and not subscribed, if you're listening and you still want to listen to it on audio, which makes sense, if you're still go subscribe. Just hit that YouTube
I love that.
app.
I love that stat, Jack, because that's a lot of women out there to listen. And since I'm probably going to be getting a divorce soon, I'll need
Yes.
to have a deep pool of
We
people
got
to
so
fish
many
in.
bitches for you.
Yeah.
No, he's being
So many
dramatic.
bitches.
No, I'm just saying, hey, I'll support you no matter what, unless you like murder somebody.
I'm not going to.
Yeah,
I know
like
you're
you
not.
Unless
to
it's
a-
an Ole Miss fan.
to a
Then we'll
certain
hide the
degree.
body.
Well, if it was self-defense, I would defend them through and through. You know, I defend
I know
self-defense.
you'll let me. Yeah, yeah.
That's
We'll hide the
self-defense,
body. The DK tweet.
Okay, so I am being accused of having pregnancy brain for this take, but I also loved the interaction this got. So it goes back to what we were talking about with the LSU Florida State game. There is something that is so cool about LSU, always has been. To me, part of it is the way the color scheme looks. Now, we talked about this in 2019, how much better the college football playoff graphic looked when LSU made an appearance because it was just different. So what I tweeted during the game was I've officially decided LSU has the best color scheme in college football, and I'm not sure it's particularly close. I would like to say that it's not, I'm not saying their uniforms are by far the best. It does help, but I think that first of all, the white.
Don't back down from that.
No, I'm not. I'm saying
Okay.
that like their white uniforms are sick. They're all purple ones. Not my favorite, but the color scheme of yellow, purple, and white for college football looks sick. Now, I understand why people would disagree. It's just an opinion, though.
Stop backing down.
I'm not.
You're right.
I'm not. I know I'm right. I'm not backing down.
You don't say she's right. You were backing up UNC the other day.
That's your team.
I know.
I'm just saying. This
No.
is her
I'm
take
not.
that
I'm
she-
not backing off. It is by far the best color scheme. But I'm open to hearing other arguments. You're wrong, but I'm open to hearing it. DK Metcalf, who I didn't even know pays attention to anything that we do. I know he's a PMT guy. He just quote tweeted me and said, "This is not a good take."
What does he know about college football? He played at Ole Miss.
Also, DK, like red, white, and blue all of a sudden
stealing
is
from
like
America.
Like, what are we talking about? Like red, white, and blue, what revolutionary when it comes to college football uniforms. And I was sitting there and I was like, fuck, like he just said this is not a good take. Didn't give me anything to open up with, didn't give me anything to clap back with, really, because I'm not as good as social media. Because Jack McGuire comes over the top almost immediately, by the way. There was no time in between. Quote tweets DK, who had quote tweeted me and said, Kayce Smith and DK Metcalf have the same amount of catches in bowl games with a period.
Yay.
And that wasn't because he sat out of any.
No, he didn't. He just never made any because he went to a shitty school.
It was
also he could never stay healthy.
Yeah.
So funny. And of course there were the losers that were like, oh, bad take.
They're called Ole Miss fans.
It's not a bad take. It's a fact.
Well, also,
how can it be a bad take if it's just a fact?
It doesn't matter. You can say whatever you want on Twitter, and someone's gonna have a problem with it.
Right, but I'm saying like mine was at least like if you want to
opinion,
argue
yeah.
about it, it's an opinion.
If we're talking color schemes,
He did not have any catches in bowl.
LSU is way up there as far
Yes.
as purple and you said yellow. It's purple and gold. Okay.
It's
Purple
not
and
as
gold.
good as Carolina
Well,
blue.
Oh yeah.
I love Carolina
that's true.
blue.
Right,
That's the
but-
best color, period. But I love Carolina's color scheme. I love LSU's color scheme. Who would you put on the short list of those?
So
I know you
this
hate
is-
them, but burnt orange.
No,
pretty fucking strong.
Texas. So this is where I differentiate because I think Texas uniforms are very high up there. The color scheme of burnt orange and white to me like doesn't like jump off the page. It's the way that they do it, and that's where it goes. Like LSU, it's like even like we talked about the center of their field with the eye of the tiger. Like everything looks cooler in those colors. I would put. I know you hate this, but it goes back to the same thing with North Carolina. I think Ole Miss powder blues looks really cool. I mean, Florida State, like that game was a really good color game.
I think Florida has to be in the mix. Their blue and their orange is really like Tennessee's orange is obnoxious. Florida's blue and orange is a great
It
color.
also
scheme.
depends on what color you mix it with because it's like, and people were coming out with like other gold and purple or yellow and purple teams. It's like, no, it's the way that LSU does it. I think USC's colors are pretty great. There is a huge difference to me between uniforms and color schemes. I think Michigan's helmets, which I know we disagree, Michigan's helmets and Michigan's uniforms are high up there.
When they have the full navy out.
The navy and yellow or maize, is great. But I think that overall, LSU's color scheme is the best. And I don't think it's particularly close. Because no one else, as a major football team in college football, has those colors.
Are those too cheap to buy my kid for school?
What?
You heard the question.
It's not a great...
Yeah, I don't like the brand.
It's not a great brand.
the
That's
kid
what I was going
likes
to say.
them.
Oh, well, if he likes them, buy them. Who cares?
Yeah, but I don't want him to look out of place at school. Is that brand? It's obviously not a great brand. I'm going to say not. Yeah.
If he likes them, but you can also find that style of shoe in a different brand.
All right.
Oh, I see what you're doing. You're protecting him.
Correct.
I got to learn how to do this thing.
Brandon's a good dad.
Let's very quickly. We got to get out of here.
Player of the week.
No, let's not even do that.
Well,
Well, we
I think it's a pretty easy player of the week.
You think it's Richardson?
I think it's Anthony Richardson.
Stetson Bennett. I had 3 written down: Anthony Richardson, Stetson Bennett, or Jordan Travis. And I would say either Anthony Richardson or Stetson Bennett would be fine.
I have Anthony Richardson. I also have Jacob Cowling from Arizona. He'd be in my because list.
Yes.
I would. One, we forget because it feels like a year ago, but Spencer Sanders put up disgusting numbers on Thursday night. I think he had over 7 total touchdowns, over 500 yards combined. He put up disgusting numbers. Here's Sean Tucker's back with his tweet.
Last night we started the 2022 season at home, and the fans really showed out. We won Syracuse 31, Louisville 7. I'm pleased with my performance and outcome of the game. I rushed for 98 yards TD and 6 receptions for 85 yards TD. We balled out, and we're just getting started. Hashtag pleased, but the EA is a 3-4, which is his number.
I hope he never stops doing this. I hope long after he
Look at
retires.
those calves, man.
It's much better when they lose and he does it, though.
But it is. But I hope one day, like long in the future, because I hope he has a long career.
I think last year he had one where he kind of called out the offensive play calling. He's like, I was disappointed with offensive play
But
calling.
I still played well. I hope he's like an old dude sitting outside, like drinking a nice like beer or sweet tea every Sunday. I want this tweet
Can you
or every
scroll down?
Monday.
Can you tell me when that tweet was sent?
That was sent,
just a
I think,
picture of it?
Sunday morning.
Okay, so I just like him sleeping on it and then
Yes.
waking up and be like, all right, well, I got to send the tweet
I mean,
Yes.
he knows what he's doing at this
September 4th, 7:20
in the morning.
point. In the morning.
p.m.
Oh yeah, he woke up and got right to it then.
No,
No,
p.m.
PM.
Oh,
So the
PM.
next
so he
day.
sat on it all day. Yeah.
Wait, was that night? No. What's today's date?
Yeah, it was
That'd be
Sunday.
Sunday.
It was Sunday.
Yeah.
That's Sunday? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? He needs
Wow,
to do
so
it.
we waited 24
He
hours.
needs to do it in the morning.
No, I like him waiting on it.
24 hours?
It needs to come at his pace, however
That's
he
true.
feels.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like when you're first starting a social media account of some sort, you really look at the insights because you're like, who's going to pay attention to this most? He's past that point. He's like, whenever I drop it, you guys are going to consume it.
100%.
All right, very briefly, going forward, week 2, Alabama Texas is the marquee game, I would say. But
We're
I
going to be
think
flying during that game.
below
by
the
way.
marquee, there are excellent games that are more important than Alabama Texas, because I think Kentucky Florida is a gigantic game in the SEC. Florida, if they start 2-0 with 2 wins over ranked teams, look out as far as the ceiling on that team is concerned. You have Alabama and Texas obviously at noon, and we're going to break down all these games for our mega preview on Thursday. So we don't really have to get into anything right now.
Marshall Notre Dame's a big one because just to see, can Notre Dame's offense score even on a decent G5 defense?
Baylor at BYU. Baylor, number 10 team in the country, 3.5-point dogs at BYU. I think BYU is going to beat the piss out of them, frankly. USC, we find out.
Stanford.
USC at Stanford. We find out exactly how good USC is.
I mean, Phil Stanford's it's a step up from Rice, but it's
It's
still
a
not.
gigantic step up, though.
It's a
conference
step up.
game. Like I know Stanford is not a Pac-12 champion in waiting, but it's a conference game.
Wazoo, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Thank you very much.
The-
App State, Texas A&M.
I'm not
Pitt,
thrilled about
Tennessee.
that. So I just went back and looked. You remember when we did the exercise where we
Kansas
picked
State.
the biggest big game,
Right.
best game and upset alert? And I would be interested to see what y'all's were. Mine: Alabama, Texas, USC, Stanford, Tennessee, and Pitt. And I remember that kind of being like, I don't know what to do. Now you look, there's way more games that are important.
Yeah, I think Florida Kentucky is a gigantic game.
Right? We didn't necessarily know that. I don't know
Oh,
if either
Iowa
one.
State.
I had that one. Huh?
Iowa State too.
Iowa State that we will be at. Yeah.
Show is at 1 p.m. Central.
Houston, Texas Tech. That's a big Houston matchup, or Texas matchup.
I'm
Virginia,
surprised
Illinois
Houston-
is a decent game too.
I'm surprised Houston was still ranked.
All right. UAB Liberty ain't bad. All right.
What if Kansas beats West Virginia?
They won't.
They could? Kansas ain't bad.
Syracuse,
think they will.
UConn, biggest game for UConn in a while. Under the lights at the Rent, it's going to be loud.
Okay. All right. We got to end it right there. And then Thursday, we'll be back.
Oh, Mississippi State, Arizona. That's also that's.
It's 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So we'll be recording during it again.
Again, every week. That's the show. Thursday, we'll be back with our mega preview, 3 a week. That's Unnecessary Roughness.